Good morning, everyone. On this beautiful bake sale Sunday, but you'll hear more about that in a little bit. So welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Desert. I am Stephen Toporoff, and I have the honor of serving as your worship associate today. I'm glad you are with us, whether you are here in person in the sanctuary or joining us online at home. To learn more about us, you can visit our website, uucod.org, and to get on our email list, please write to our administrator, and that would be at admin, A-D-M-I-N, at uucod.org. Before we begin, can you please take a moment to silence anything that rings? Phones, iPads, watches, whatever some other technology, I don't know. Okay. It is our practice here each Sunday to acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded lands of the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla people. And we commit to grow in our understanding and relationship with this land and with the people who inhabited it and nurtured it before our arrival. In this congregation, we strive to honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person. You are welcome here no matter your background, race, ancestry, and culture. We welcome people of all sexual orientations and gender identities, of all ages and sizes, people of all economic statuses and professions, and of all physical and mental abilities. You are welcome here wherever you are from, whoever you love, whatever your immigration status, I will repeat that, whatever your immigration status or civic engagement. We welcome all those who will learn and grow with us as we commit together to embrace the rich and beautiful diversity of the world and to build a community centered in justice, compassion, and love. And our service will continue with Rev. Ian ringing our Tibetan bowl, followed by our music for centering.
Good morning again and welcome again. It is good to see so many of you here today on this bright, beautiful January morning. Welcome. My name is Ian Riddell. I have the honor and the joy of serving this congregation as its minister, and I welcome you today, whether you're here in person or watching us online or from the lobby. Hello over there. We're a little extra packed today. I'm so glad. Thank you for being here. I want to begin our time together by sharing the words of my colleague and dear friend Beth Johnson, who was inspired by the life and ministry of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when she wrote these words. Love is the soul force that joins us in our prayers calling for justice, compassion, and eyes wide open hope. Love is the soul force that meets us in our passion, countering indifference, denial, and despair and destruction. Love is the soul force that meets us in our power, countering hatred, bigotry, and evil. Love is the soul force that meets us in its promise, restoring, renewing, calling us to ever dream, ever strive, ever persist in fulfilling love's promise of beloved community. Grateful for this love and this community, we gather together today. And we're going to start our time together today by singing together, but we're going to stay seated for this and the other singing, actually. It'll be a calmer singing service today. We're going to sing the song Meditation on Breathing. You'll see the words on the screen there, but we're going to start off with drone. Drone is not a bad word. The drone is just an ongoing rhythmic tone that we sing underneath the other music. So I'm going to teach you the drone, then we're going to sing the song over top of the drone, and if you feel like returning to the drone at any time, if your heart is calling for calm, if your mind can't remember what you're supposed to be singing, go back to the drone, okay? And the drone just goes like this. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. And I breathe in, I breathe in peace, I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, now all of us on the drone, breathe. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe
And now Rev Ian is going to light our chalice. And as he does so, please read along the words that are on the screen. May love be the spirit of this church. May the quest for truth be its sacrament, and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration. And now I invite Sarita to come forward and light our BioPOC candles. And as she does, please read along. We light these candles in solidarity with Black, Indigenous, and other people of color as we journey together toward spiritual wholeness. May we, as a beloved community, work to dismantle racism and all forms of oppression. May we live out our values so that justice, dignity, and equity for all prevail. Thank you. As many of you know, I moved to the desert about 4 years ago from the East Coast. And before moving to the desert, I lived in the Maryland and Virginia suburbs of Washington, D.C., where I was active in several UU congregations. My final congregation was All Souls Unitarian in the heart of D.C., led at the time by the Reverend Rob Hardees. Many of his sermons I heard there. Two in particular resonated, both having to do with strangers, our theme for today. The first focused on, quote, basement people. All Souls building is historic, has a grand sanctuary spanning 2 floors, multiple classrooms, community rooms, and a basement that is frequently used by self-help groups like AA and Al-Anon. While congregants typically headed upstairs, the basement people, so to speak, descended below. Rav Hardy's challenged us. Did we know these individuals? Were we curious about their lives? Did we greet them in passing in the hallway? Could we offer support? Did we even know the name of a single one of the people who were heading to the basement? The second sermon explored, quote, border people. Those living along physical borders, like the United States-Mexico divide, but also metaphoric borders, such as class, race, and religion. Rav Hardy's described two types of border people: those who build walls and barriers, refusing to see the humanity across the divide, and those who leave water in the desert, offer shelter, provide clothing, and extend medical and perhaps legal help to those in need. These sermons raise important questions for our community. Who are our basement people? The underserved, the homeless? Do we know them? Do we interact with them? And what borders divide us? And which type of border person are we? One who retreats from difference, building fences, or one who sees an opportunity to know and understand others? I invite Jack Simmons to come forward to talk about our Share the Plate for this Sunday.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jack Fitzsimmons, and I'm a member of UUCOD's Social Justice Committee. Today, we share the plate with the second annual Safe Schools Desert Cities Gloria Cap Scholarship Fund. This scholarship was founded last year after the tragic passing of our beloved, Gloria Cap. As many of you know, Gloria was a longstanding member and co-chair of the Social Justice Committee, and she was also the vice president of Safe Schools Desert City, working along with Eric Ornelas. Believing that every LGBTQ plus high school graduate should be able to live into their best lives, Gloria was the scholarship committee chairperson, and in this role, she worked tirelessly year after year to make sure that 20 to 30 LGBT plus youth high school graduates who live in Coachella Valley and in the high desert could pursue their dreams and go to college. Today, please give as generously as you can to honor Gloria and the hardworking graduates who the scholarship will help. And now, please give a warm welcome to Eric, who will talk about the good works of Safe Schools.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everyone, for that warm welcome. I time myself so I don't go on and on. Okay, so I was reminded this morning in a conversation here in the church that those of us who, in the LGBTQ plus community who went to school in the 70s and the 80s didn't have support. There was no such thing as a club or any kind of support for middle and high school students at that time. That's not true today. Today, started actually in the late 80s, early 90s, students started forming clubs called Gay Straight Alliance Clubs. And these were clubs, other clubs that you might find in the middle or high school, or chess club or debate club. Well, now they have these GSA, we call them GSA clubs. And that's what Safe Schools exists to support. We support GSA clubs here in the Coachella Valley, in schools all across the Coachella Valley, and also in the high desert, Morongo Valley, and Banning and Beaumont as well. And how we do that is we support these clubs with funds. We offer them, this year we have $500 to give to each GSA club to purchase things like pizza parties and t-shirts, club t-shirts, and whatever they need for their club. All they have to do is just request those funds from us, and we are happy to help them with that. We also produce events. We start the school year with what we call a GSA Advisor Luncheon, and we invite the adult advisors to have lunch with the board members, and we give them a presentation of what will be available to them from Safe Schools over the coming school year. For the students, it starts later in the year in November, when we host the youth zone at the Palm Springs Pride Festival. This is a space just for the students, and no adults allowed, and they can come in there and enjoy the festival, but also have a space that's just for them, and Safe Schools provides that. As part of that weekend, we also invite the students to walk with us in the parade. Now, there's nothing like seeing, for the students and also for the adults that are on the streets watching the parade, to see 100, 200 students walking proudly down the parade, holding the banner of their school GSA club. It's a powerful moment for the spectators and for the students themselves. Following that, in March, we have we have a scholarship award ceremony, which is fantastic because this is when the parents and the families come and they support the students that are the recipients of our scholarships for that year. And also the Rainbow Youth Summit, which is a day-long series of workshops and events and guest speakers that will come and speak with them. One example of one of our guest speakers was Peter Dowd. So if you watch KESQ News Channel 3 here in the desert, he's a very visible member of the LGBTQ plus community, and he came and spoke with them, and they all treated him like the celebrity that he is and wanted to take their picture with him. And so it was really great for them to see a successful LGBTQ plus adult. And so that's the Rainbow Youth Summit. And then we have the Pride Prom in May. The Pride Prom is available to GSA middle and high school high school students only. High school students here in the Coachella Valley, and we've typically held it at the Palm Springs Air Museum. And we've had up to 400 students attend the Pride Prom. And so that's a prom that's just for them. They can dress however they like. They can take to the prom whoever they want, no restrictions. So that's a time for them to be themselves, their authentic selves, in a safe and supportive environment. And then one last thing, the last event would be our Leadership and Empowerment Camp. Every 2 years, we hold a Leadership and Empowerment Camp, and this is a very powerful event. We had one last summer, and there's nothing like seeing the students arrive to camp with this very closed body language, and by the end of those 3 days, they're singing and dancing on stage, performing a production that they wrote themselves. So it's really amazing. But today, I want to talk also about the scholarship program. So we have a scholarship program that Gloria Cap started. And that's what the Share of the Plate is for today. We offer students from $500 to $1,500 to help with expenses past high school. So this could be for a college, community college, university, a trade school, just education beyond their high school years. And so that's what the scholarship program is for. And we have Gloria Cap to thank for that. And so we are very grateful for UCOD for beginning this Gloria Cap Scholarship Fund, and we appreciate your support of that program. If you'd like more information on what Safe Schools does, please feel free to visit our website. It is safeschools.dc.org, and that's DC as in Desert Cities, not District of Columbia. So safeschools.dc.org for all the information, and you can also donate through the website as well. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thanks, Eric and Jack.
But more on that in a moment. Friends, these are the joys that we have shared out loud, and we carry them in our hearts as well. And so I invite you now into a time of prayer, time of contemplation. Breathe as deeply as you are comfortable, Be comfortable in your seats as we pause together. Spirit of life, source of love, fire of our broken but still shining hearts, we have gathered yet again on this day which is like every other day, but this day which is also a special day. This day which is the day before the day that we honor the memory and the legacy and the work and the challenge of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his voice for peace, his voice for love, his voice for economic justice and racial integration ring in our ears and in our hearts these many years after his death. We carry in our hearts the words of his that bring us peace, and we also carry in our hearts the words of his that challenge us, that knock us out of our complacency as we face the world ahead. Today is also the day before the inauguration of the next president of our country, the beginning of a new administration that so many of us fear will be a repeat of the old administration. So many of us are anxious and fearful of chaos and anger and hatred and violence in the days to come. And so we hold in our hearts today our entire nation. All of those who think and live the way we do. All of those who think and live differently than we do. All of those who will be the most harmed by the policies of our government, by the practices of our leaders. All of those people who will be the most harmed. We pray for them, for our leaders, for the leaders of movements working for peace and justice and safety. We pray for ourselves. Our hearts, our spirits go forth to ourselves and our neighbors and our kin and our fellow citizens as we face together the frightening possibilities of the future. May we carry ourselves and each other with love, and may we never, ever forget that we are not alone and that the future has not been written, that there is possibility and that a new world is possible, and that it is our work to help it come. We hold all of this in our shaking and confident hearts as we pause in silence together today. May all beings know peace. May all beings know an end to suffering. May all beings know love. Friends, will you join your voices together as we sing Spirit of Life, Fuente de Amor.
Love
hope you will carry that tune in your heart in the days ahead, friends. Nick, this is not an apology, but an explanation. You know, when I write the blurbs that describe the service for the newsletter, I write them a long time before I start writing the sermon. So I wrote the description for this service in the middle of December. And we are going to talk about all of those things, but it might go in some different directions, so I hope you'll join me. The Spirit moves in mysterious ways. It was just after the new year, and I was at the Cathedral City Post Office. It had been a very stressful day, and I had some documents to mail to Canada to my family, and it hadn't been an easy day, and I was a little bit grumpy. The world being what it is today didn't really help me at all either, and I was very much in a get these errands done and get home to the dogs mode. And when I get into that kind of place, I often notice it because my patience and my curiosity about the people around me get really limited, and it was limited that day. I had to go up to the counter twice because there were customs forms to fill out. Those of you who have lived in two countries, there are customs forms to fill out even for simple documents. And I was waiting in line for the second time when a guy walked into the lobby carrying a large clear plastic bag full of little white cardboard boxes, about yay big. I figured out later he probably was selling cookies online or something like that and shipping them out. But he dumped this big bag by the door where folks often have to go to collect held mail or packages, and then he walked over to the post office workers at their stations at the counter, ignoring the several people in line, including me. Now, I often get peeved when people assume they're more important than the other people around, and it seems like that was what was going on. And I already told you I was grumpy and impatient, and eventually he got someone's attention, and they found someone to open the door for him, take the big bag, and get a cart for him, because apparently he had many more in his car. Well, I grumbled quietly under my breath about not butting in line, and didn't he see us waiting here? And as I was finally at the counter getting my package weighed and stamped, he came back with more bags and more small boxes and just started talking to the postal employee who was helping me. What shook me out of my mood was that he wasn't talking with him about his boxes or the bags or the long line. He was asking her about her father, who was apparently having some health problems. And she asked him about his sick dog. Clearly, he was a regular, and they had gotten to know each other and become concerned about each other's lives. And honestly, it didn't slow down her work for me. And it shook me out of the mood I was in, and it made me see the situation we were all in very differently. It wasn't a huge, profound moment for anyone there, but it still made new sense to me. Here we all were, trying to get through the day, filling out forms and getting stamps and the world, and they were doing that too, but they were also acting like they lived in a community with each other where people care for and about each other. Even though we were all rushing a bit, they paused and saw each other as human beings, citizens in a challenging society, people in a political environment that is certainly not calling the best out of any of us, and just showing care for each other. At this time of year, as we commemorate the day honoring the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we ministers, especially we white ministers, usually take this as an opportunity to pull out some quotes from Reverend King to make us feel good or inspire us. We are rightly critiqued for only caring about King on this one day, and for usually pulling a quote out that consoles or paints him in warm and fuzzy terms, often ignoring the ways that he was vilified in his day, even by liberals, ignoring the ways that his words and vision were radical and challenging and called for some searing self-awareness from all of us. I think we Unitarian Universalists are most fond of him when he said, "The arc of the universe bends toward justice." I think it makes us feel hopeful, forgetting that we have to be the ones pushing the arc towards justice. And we really like that King was quoting our own Theodore Parker when he said those words. Today, though, in the face of the reality of our political and social and environmental life in this country, I want to share a couple of other thoughts from King, maybe more difficult ones for us in this moment. In a sermon that he preached in 1956 at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, Reverend King said, "Never succumb to the temptation of becoming bitter. As you press on for justice, be sure to move with dignity and discipline, using only the weapon of love. Let no man pull you so low as to hate him." Can you breathe with me for a minute and hear that one again? Let no one pull you so low as to hate them. We have been and are going to be in a time in our country when the world is presenting us with a large group of people it is going to be very easy for us to hate. National leaders, including the one being inaugurated as president tomorrow, who seem to intentionally do cruel, greedy, hateful things, whittling away at human rights, at civility, at even the semblance of competence and due diligence, eroding our democratic institutions and turning national policy and leadership over to billionaires and lackeys, and other leaders letting them do it, engaging in an ongoing politics of division and chaos and destabilization and lying at every turn. And Reverend King is asking us not to hate them. Any of them. In fact, Reverend King, drawing on his Christian tradition, goes beyond that. In another sermon, this one called Loving Your Enemies, delivered at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in 1957, King said this: "Another way that you love your enemy is this. When the opportunity presents itself for you to defeat your enemy, that is the time which you must not do it." In the final analysis, love is not this sentimental something, he says, that we talk about. It's not merely an emotional something. Love is creative, understanding goodwill for all men. It is the refusal to defeat any individual. When you rise to the level of love, of its great beauty and power, you seek only to defeat evil systems. Individuals who happen to be caught up in the system you love, but you seek to defeat the system. Now, I imagine that you might be a little perplexed right now, a little uncertain about what I'm trying to say to you on the night of the inauguration, the beginning of 4 more years of something. And here I am saying, don't hate and don't defeat. But like King, I am not saying don't fight the system. I am not saying don't fight evil. I'm not saying don't turn all of your energy and creativity and passion toward helping yourself and your neighbors survive and thrive. I am not saying that you shouldn't act in all the ways we've been talking about for the past months. But if our work, our mission, our vision of hope and possibility is grounded in love, then hate is a problem. Now, King would ground that understanding of love and hate in his Christian theology. And we Unitarian Universalists ground ours there as well, in our understanding, growing out of the traditions of our religious ancestors, that our universalism calls us to understand our radical interdependence and our knowledge that we are all born with inherent worth and dignity, all of us. And it's clear that those we would call our political and social opponents don't actually believe that or understand things that way. They see castes of people who are worthy and castes who are unworthy. They believe that there are normal, good, holy people and that there are abnormal, warped, disposable people. And they tell us about it all the time. And they express glee when we are offended. But I'm going to use I language. I am going to choose or try to choose to not give them the satisfaction of my hate. I wonder if we could choose, even as we are defending democracy and our neighbors, if we could choose not to give in to hate. not for the sake of those we might call opponents or enemies, not for their sake, but for our own. There was a television show in the 1990s called Xena the Warrior Princess. Sorry, I am always me. And now, you don't actually need to know much about it, except it was as ludicrous as it was profound. In a show with swords and silliness, there were themes of redemption and forgiveness, friendship and loyalty. And at one incredibly intense and heartbreaking moment in the episode in the middle of one of the seasons, we hear these words: "Hate is the star, it becomes who you are, not the hated, but the hater has a torment that's greater." Hate can be overwhelming. It can be self-destructive. It can corrode. It eats away at our spirit, at our soul, if you use that language. It is different from anger or fear, which can be constructive. I want us to survive the next 4 years. I want our bodies. I want the bodies of our neighbors and our kin to survive the next 4 years. And I want our spirits and souls to survive as well. I don't want us to lose who and what we are in the difficult days ahead. Our worship themes this year have been grounded in actions and practices that can help us individually and collectively to weather the coming years, to survive and thrive, and to work and protect and celebrate all of those who the powerful deem unworthy or unacceptable. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but in the past few months, we have talked about nurturing sustainable relationships, living into our democratic process, building excessive and inclusive communities, and nurturing hope. And in the coming months, we will explore together sharing our faith, learning from one another, growing spiritually, empowering participation, and making meaning. Right here and now, this month, our theme is we are imagining the spiritual discipline of love. Because it is a discipline, a practice, not just a choice, not always easy. All throughout his sermons and his speeches and his writings, Reverend King talked about choosing love, choosing to act out of love, choosing to be love in the face of hatred and fear and destruction. In the face of what we face, we choose love. We choose to see the people in front of us as human beings, not because we do it for them, because we do it, well, partially, but we do it for us. Like Stephen shared earlier, we choose to reach across borders and see the humanity of those we may not have noticed or may have ignored because they are not like us. Just this past week, I took part in a community gathering sponsored by the Palm Springs LGBTQ Center. It was the second gathering they'd hosted since the election. The first, in December, had been about finding resilience, about building resilience in the face of the coming presidential administration and its assaults on our communities. This month's gathering was aimed at networking and resourcing, reminding us that the work of building connection with each other was necessary work, aimed at mobilizing, they said, our LGBTQ plus community and allies to turn resilience into impactful advocacy. The gathering opened with a presentation from a leader from Equality California who talked about the legislative and political work they were engaged in and hoped we would be engaged in ways that we collectively could counter the aggression of the new administration. Now, I knew that several of our members would be there, and I was really looking forward to sitting with them and sharing the gathering together. But we were put at randomly separate tables and invited to share our fears and our hopes and expectations with those at our tables, to build connections with people who were likely strangers. The high-level presentations were excellent, of course, but it was sitting and talking with these people at my table, a psychologist, a healthcare provider, a longtime local activist. It was sitting and talking with them that inspired me deeply. And not just me, Walter Gandel, and I have his permission to share these words, who was there at another table, shared this in his reflection. He said, the folks at my table expressed fear, anxiety, anger, shock, and depression. Sharing those concerns in a group and seeing the support everyone was providing made me realize the power of community, shared interest, and collective action. He said, I walked away feeling a little less alone, a little more hopeful, and a lot more empowered, knowing that there may very well be an army of people who will be diligent in paying attention to any legislation that may impact our rights, and if needed, constructively mobilize. Thank you for sharing your words, Walter. I think a gathering like that and the connection it helped us make is the practice of love that makes us stronger. I think that choosing to avoid hatred as we act in the world is the practice of love that allows us to be healthy and whole and connected to who we really are. I think that sharing our stories with strangers and hearing their experiences and fears and hopes is the practice of love that will remind us that we are not alone and that we are strong together. These are some of the practices of love that I hope will guide us and get us through the next days and years, that will enable us to continue building community and safety and justice and connection, whatever happens around us. May it be so. My friends, our closing song is a little different today. It's called All Lifted Hearts. And you have a significant part to play in this, as always. But I wanted to take a moment to tell you a little bit about where this came from. A while ago, around the early 2000s, Jason Shelton and Kendall Gibbons wrote an oratorio, a multi-movement piece based on the sources of our Unitarian Universalist tradition that we talked about in years past. And each movement was about a different source, and each movement was in a different style. So there was a movement that was in the style of a Disney ballad. There was a rap movement. There was a choral movement. There was all sorts of different styles of music. And there was a movement that was in the style of Taizé. Now, Taizé is a practice that grows out of the Taizé monastery in France, where short phrases are repeated over and over again to create a meditative and prayerful feeling and mode. And this movement, the Taizé movement, was also the movement that focused on the third source at the time, words from the world's religion, wisdom from the world's religion, which inspire our ethical and spiritual life. And so as we move into this new time and are looking for inspiration of our ethical and spiritual life, I want to invite us to sing this together. Now, what will happen is I'm going to teach you the song, and then Malcolm will play a little introduction and we'll sing it twice. And then Stephen and I have words to share with you in between the times that we sing that come from around the world and its religions. And so we will sing a little bit. Stephen and I will talk. We will sing again. We'll speak. We'll sing again. It'll move back and forth like that. And I'll always let you know where we are, okay? So I invite you to remain seated. Malcolm, can I just have the key? Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea, all lifted hearts are free. What are the many keys? Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea, all lifted hearts are free. One more time. Many windows, do to others. This is the whole of the law. All of the rest is commentary.
In the Hindu legend of the Mahabharata, the divine Krishna declared, "This is the sum of duty. Do nothing unto others which would cause you pain if done to you."
It is written, it is taught, may it be so. Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea, all lifted hearts are free.
In the Gospel of Matthew in the Christian scriptures, the Messiah Jesus says, "Whatever you wish that others would do to you, do to them."
In the Buddhist text of the Uddhagvarga, the student is urged, hurt not others in ways that you yourself would find hurtful. It is written, it is taught, may it be so. Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea, all lifted hearts are free. In the Muslim hadith of Nawawi, the Prophet Muhammad teaches, no one of you is a believer until he desires for his brother that which he desires for himself.
In the Taishan treatise of Taoism, the seeker is instructed, regard your neighbor's gain as your gain, and your neighbor's loss as your own loss.
It is written, it is taught, may it be so. Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea, all lifted hearts are free.
In the ancient wisdom of Shinto, there is a saying, the heart of a person before you is a mirror. See there your own form.
The Oglala Lakota spiritual leader Black Elk wrote, all things are our relatives. What we do to everything, we do to ourselves.
It is written, it is taught, may it be so.
Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea, all lifted hearts are free. And again, many windows, one light, many waters, one sea, all lifted hearts are free. And one last time. Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea, all lifted hearts are free.
This is the time in the service where we have some congregational news. I've been in DC too long. Rod Belchy.
Thank you for my one fan. I wanted to give an announcement. Next week after the service, please stick around. We will be dedicating the Sacred Grounds projects for this year. Many of you are newer and may not know what Sacred Grounds is all about, so come and find out. Basically, we have three objectives. One is provide habitat These days, with the increasing temperatures in the desert, a lot of animals are struggling and plants are struggling. We're using our 2.5 acres out there to provide habitat. The next is to connect people with the land. We encourage you to come and spend time, and increasingly we see people out there, which is absolutely wonderful. And then the third is to encourage you to create habitat in your own yards. This year we are finishing 3 major habitats, a huge push-up thanks to lots of folks, and I have to especially call out Dave Emerson wherever you're sitting. He's probably put in more hours than all the rest of us put together. There's the culprit. But we put in our largest garden to date, which is the creosote habitat. We also put a blow sand habitat, which is created around the endangered Coachella Valley milk vetch, of which there are only 30 plots in the world left, and ours is one of them. So that's pretty special. And then the last is the pollinator garden that Jack Fitzsimmons has been leading, and that one is actually composed of a hummingbird garden and a butterfly garden and bee habitat and just a whole bunch of pretty flowers. So we encourage you all to come. The celebration will have connection. That is one of our objectives. We will try to connect you to the land. We will be distributing seed packets, and you will be planting some seeds. The Living Desert has donated some little teeny plant starts that will have an opportunity to go out and plant. So we really want to connect people to the land. Will there also be a number of very short readings, and Reverend Ian will be blessing the gardens. We encourage you to take some of those packets home for our third objective and start creating habitat in your own yard. And this is a wonderful outreach event. We're not making it as giant as last year. Many of you may remember what we did last year with an exhibitor fair, and it was absolutely wonderful. But we still, this one is done, the pollinator garden is done in connection with the Rotary Club. A couple of the habitats are being done in connection with UCR climate stewards and California naturalists. And the Living Desert is donating the plants, so it is also a huge outreach. I encourage you, stay after next week, find out what we're up to, and we'll be giving tours and engage you to fall in love with the grounds. Thanks.
And our dear president, Bob, is going to tell us all about the bake sale.
Good morning, it's here. Good morning, everyone. The bake-off is today. Look at that, we got 126 people here. Welcome, Safe Schools, Desert Cities. Wow, this is super exciting. I was just hoping this would happen, and here we are. Look at how we've all come together. We've heard a fantastic message today that hopefully is going to help me get through tomorrow, for example. And you know, it's just amazing. I knew we had a lot of creativity, great bakers in our community, and look what's happened. So just a word about what's happening. Please stay today, if you're able, and enjoy our first bake sale. This is not your grandmother's church bake sale, okay? This stuff, you know, where you use, so you know how we do things. So if you'll step outside after service, you'll get an index card and a pen out on the table. See Jerry, the cashier's table. That's your first stop. Get your index card and your pen, and that's your order form. And you just go around to the bake sale tables, which are also outside on the patio, and have the baker that you want to buy something from or yourself just write down as you're at a table what you want. There's a price list somewhere, and there's numbers to cross-reference. If you want to use that might make it easier. If not, don't worry about it. Just somehow record on that form what you're buying, finish up your shopping, head back on over to Jerry. Make sure to get some raffle tickets, too. We're selling raffle tickets until noontime. We've already sold $350 in raffle tickets online. So you've got competition to win these special baked goods today. Tricia Walton has made a lime white chocolate cheesecake. That's one of your raffle prizes. It looks ridiculous, and if you know Trish, it's like, wow. My husband, Ruben Gallardo, if you haven't had his peanut butter chocolate chip cookies yet, they are like Riverside County famous. I work for the county, and I swear every department knows about them because he's made them over the years. So, and the church too. So a dozen of those are being raffled as well. And Daljeet is here with us today. Daljeet's over there. And Daljit has made us some Punjabi naan, baked Punjabi naan in all different varieties, and that's your third raffle prize. He's also selling them if you don't win the raffle, so don't worry about that. See Daljit for his naan today. Bakers, you can just head over to your tables when you get out and just try to man your tables. We're going to call the raffle at noon, so make sure to get your raffle tickets from Velma, the raffle lady. Where's Velma? There she is, Velma. Velma's our raffle lady. She's going to be going around. There's also she's might be with Jerry selling raffle tickets. So until noon, you can still get in this raffle and win one of those delicious prizes. Okay? So buy some raffle tickets from Velma. Cash out with Jerry after you've taken your orders, your bake sale orders, and then let's go break bread together in the community room. Socialize, catch up, chat. Be together and be strong and get ready for tomorrow and whatever else comes ahead. And I hope I have love for everyone today and tomorrow, and we will get through this as long as we're together as a community, right? That's what our current president says. As long as we stay together, we will get through this. So let's enjoy. And thank you so much for your time, guys, today, to take so much of your time. Thank everyone for their patience. We have a question. Yes, ma'am. Yes. I know, right? That's what we're thinking. Like, how do we do this? So you just try to make sure somebody's at your table if people are still selling, so that you maybe ask your neighbor, ask one of us in the bake-off team. We've got Velma, Rob DeWars, Levon Swanson, Ruben Gallardo, and myself. Who am I missing? Sandy Sladen and Margaret Manson. Those are all your bake-off team. So any questions, any issues, just stop one of us. We might come man your table for a few minutes, need so. We are going to have a break at noon. We're going to stop everything at noon to do the raffle. So make sure to get your raffle tickets then. We'll do a break. We'll all come together, see who the winners are. And then if there's still food left, we'll buy some more and still socialize. You're welcome to leave whenever you want. If your stuff's sold out, you can leave if you want. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for this. Thank you.
Okay. And now we're going to extinguish the chalice. And as Radhian does so, please read along. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Reverend Dr. King said, "Power without love is reckless and abusive, and love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love. As we depart this space made sacred with our presence and our intentions, may we remember together the power we have, the power we can build, fueled by love. We create and find and know the love that we use to correct all that stands against love, today, tomorrow, and always. Go in peace, dear ones, to love and serve the world."